And you know, I'll draw an example of what I'm talking about in just a little bit after this interview. Right now, we're joined by the PEP candidate for Diego Martin Central. Now, we heard from the candidate from the MSJ from Diego Martin Central. We know Simon Nobrega, and I think it is Lakis is also contesting that particular seat. So that's going to be a hotly contested seat as well, with about 4 or 5 candidates inside of there, including Gavin Nicholas from the MND. So, oh boy, it's all happening for election 2020. And we're just about 9 days away, somewhere thereabouts. So we have Felicia Holder, who is with us this morning. Felicia, morning to you, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers and all the peppers who will be watching the show this morning.
Lovely. Now, let's get on to brass tacks here and get straight into it. You know me, don't waste time.
Yes.
So, okay, you're going up at Diego Martin Central. You're going up against Simon Nobrega, who has been part of the corporation there for a while.
CEO of
and
the corporation.
He's CEO of the corporation, and he's been on the ground, and he would have been on the ground and in the community, I would imagine, throughout his tenure. Or that's...
But you're assuming that was a positive thing. I mean, one of the things that I'm bringing up is the fact that as the CEO of the corporation, I mean, right there on Manning Street, until we did a video about a week ago.
I saw it, yeah.
About the trailer that was parked there for so long. I mean, finally, thank God PEP highlighted it. It was finally removed.
Yeah, become a family living up in there too.
And you know, that is under the Summary Offences Act, it is illegal to have a vehicle parked there for so long, and it's been there for a very long time, some years actually.
Wow.
Blocking and obstructing the flow of traffic on Manning Street. Looking around the community, I mean, this is my plea to residents. You haven't gotten representation under Darrell Smith. It's no secret. Everywhere I go, every door I knock on, the #1 complaint is, well, we don't see the MP. He went in Parliament, in his back, forget about them. And I'm asking them, you know, what is the point of switching him out to put another man, another PNM-led man who, as the CEO of the corporation, and somebody who has the power to fix the things within the constituency, has failed to do so.
That's an interesting point, because I was looking at it that Simon Nobrega would have been, you know, part of the corporation, part of the system. He understands the system. He knows the constituency, but you bring a different element in. You bring in the element that, yeah, he's been there, but
exactly.
What are the results?
You have the job now, and it's not, you're obviously not performing in it. What's going to change putting you...
Because most of those things that people suffer from in constituencies, most of the things they complain about, falls on the corporation and on the MP per se.
Exactly.
And people get it tied up.
Exactly.
So people don't have the understanding that, you know, your MP not responsible for certain things in your area. That falls on the corporation, the councillor. That's why you have a councillor, right? That falls on them.
Yes.
But people usually, everything is, you know, the MP is the one who gets the knock. But that's an interesting point that you make there. Another thing is the roads. I hear a lot of people complaining about the condition of the roads in Diego Martin.
It is terrible, and I say that the PNM should be ashamed of themselves rushing to pave the Diego Martin main road mere days and weeks before general election. I mean, that's been the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. You know election coming when you smell pitch. But it is an insult to the people of Diego Martin Central, Diego Martin West, which the main road boundaries, both constituencies. It's an insult to them what we have had to drive on. I mean, just this week I was driving through to the stadium. I did not realize that they had scraped the road a little bit further. And Stefan, it was terrible. What would it taken you 5 minutes to get somewhere? Now taking you half an hour, because the roads themselves, other than the fact that they scraped it, it was terrible. In some places, it was a road and a pothole, not a pothole in the road.
And you know what I can understand with Diego Martin, on the whole, as a constituency? I was talking this yesterday with somebody, right? You know, people in rural areas, underdeveloped areas, like Bishan, they come, you know, when you hear them complain about the conditions of the roads, you say, well, you know, people say, well, rural area, you know. But Diego Martin is a developed constituency. It's not a rural constituency. It's developed.
Exactly.
It have business. It have, you know.
Not that should be any excuse, but there's so many businesses along the Diego Martin main road that I wondered, you know, how is it that it was allowed to be in such a state of disrepair?
Correct, and that's my point. When you hear people making noise in an underdeveloped, I don't want to take it the wrong way in Bisha. When you hear people making noise in an underdeveloped constituency, you can understand why. And I think that's the point I wanted to make. But when you hear people making noise about simple things or things that's supposed to be standard, right? In a developed constituency, that's a whole different kettle of fish by itself.
It is, and I mean the sidewalks, if you're differently able in a wheelchair, there was a part of the sidewalk that we passed. There was a part of the road that we passed where there was literally a grass growing out, razor grass growing out of the pavement through some manhole that when you look down inside of it, it's you can't even see.
Wow.
It's terrible that, you know, the states that Diego Martin was allowed to fall. And I mean, again, being on the boundary of Keith Rowley's constituency, I'm watching his music truck one day coming out, dodging potholes, and I'm like, you should be ashamed to show your face, to stick up posters, to campaign in the area where you have basically neglected for the 5 years.
No, you told me a little while ago before we got in, I said, what's the number one problem in Diego Martin? You told me water. now water, and that's, again, Diego Martin is a developed constituency. So when you think about people not getting water, you think south, some parts are central, up in the east, but you don't really you wouldn't think off the top of your head. Diego Martin is not one of the constituencies that will fly off the top of your head for water problems, but they do have water problems. Now, has PEP identified the problem and know the solution to the problem?
Well, one of the problems, so I visited Kokoja, which is Pissy Valley, part of the Diego Martin Central, and they live on an incline. So that part of Kokoja, it starts from the Pissy Valley road and goes up into the mountains there. And one of the residents who I spoke to, actually I saw some pipes, an amalgamation of white pipes fitted together, looking kind of crazy. So I asked the resident, I said, what is this about? It doesn't look, you know, water pipes are usually blue. He said, well, we, the residents, had to fit and find our own way of getting water uphill, because WASA to this day has not been able to figure out how to get water to us up in the hills. And they get water at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 times a week. So you have to be up to fill your buckets to make sure that when the water gone, you could bathe, cook, clean for the rest of the week. And I wouldn't say, I don't know if to call it the #1 issue, because there's also the disparity between who gets water and who don't. There are those who say, I got a steady enough supply of water. But when you look at those communities, sometimes they are like 2, 3, 5 minutes away from the communities that don't. Which again is creating a disparity. It's creating a sense of resentment for communities, especially when you're seeing or you're hearing that the more affluent communities, because you know Diego Martin it consists of the Diamond Vales and the...
It's very diverse.
Yes, and the
there's
West Hill,
uptown, middle class, downtown. It
is a very diverse community, and when you can hear a resident from an underserved community, I don't like to call it underserved, because that's what they are. When you hear a resident from an underserved community say, it's not that we can't get water, you know, it's that those in the richer areas getting it easier or faster than ours. That is creating disparity as well as tension and resentment within a community that has to reside and live together. We in the Progressive Empowerment Party, there are so many, if you look at Diego Martin, it is literally a basin. There are mountains on this side, mountains on that side, Diego Martin Central in particular. And all of that water, yesterday I was in Diego Martin and rain was just pouring.
Yes.
All of that water, it collects, goes down the Diego Martin Diego Martin River, and we wash it into the ocean.
Into the ocean. There's no catchment. And
then spend $500 million trying to desalinate water. Our water policy, listen, I love to talk about this water policy because I cannot believe that in this day and age, nobody, no engineer, nobody in WASA has not thought to catch that water, store it, treat it, and distribute it to the communities that don't have water.
Yeah.
A man in Diego Martin Central should not have to wait for somebody in the Caroni station to open a valve to release water to send quite Diego Martin Central. We want to decentralize water management to the constituency. Diego Martin also has natural springs.
Okay.
Spring Flow Road has a natural spring that again runs down into the river, into the drain, and out into the ocean. At this point, it's 2020. Water for all was supposed to happen over 60 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, development is not just buildings and stadiums. Diego Martin Central has, actually on the boundary of Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, and Diego Martin Northeast, there's that sporting facility, that stadium that they built, that was supposed to be the big hullabaloo in the constituencies, and what has it brought to the residents? They can't even use it. You have to apply to UDICUT to get a permit.
I heard that.
And pay $1,000 upwards to go and kick a ball on a field. Every time I pass it, it's empty.
And it must be empty because the youths in the area that want to go and play sports on the grounds, they ain't paying $1,000 to go and play no sport. Better they keep that in their pocket and buy food or something. If you understand what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I don't know. But the ideas are very good ideas that you're putting forward there. Now, just before we open the phone, I'll take a couple of calls before we wrap. You all have made a call and written the president to postpone the elections.
Yes.
Why?
On the 31st of January of 2020, the president made a proclamation that COVID-19 was an infectious disease, and we should be, as Trinbagonians, on alert for this dangerous disease that was coming or on its way to wreak havoc, which we, of course, experienced less than 2 months after.
Exactly.
Since then, we have seemingly gotten the virus under control, but then about a week or two ago, community spread began to happen.
Yeah.
Now, a general election consists of two things: campaigning and the election day itself.
People coming out to vote.
Both activities which have the potential to blow what is already community spread. I was driving over here and I was listening to another school being closed because of a child being suspected. My mom dropped me. I got a flat tire this morning, so she had to drop me this morning. She's telling me about a fire station that apparently was one of the places somebody who was infected with the disease entered.
I got that news too yesterday.
Exactly. So this thing is clearly, all it takes is one. And we have more than one right now.
Yeah.
We have people campaigning. I'm watching campaigns. We have strict policy to wear masks while we're campaigning. I'm not seeing it happening across the board with all other political parties. I'm seeing groups of numbers way larger than
25.
Than 25.
Yep, seen it
On election day, you're going to have people coming in, sticking their finger in ink. I mean, it has the potential, as we see it in the Progressive Empowerment Party, to blow to massive proportions. And based on the fact that in the Representation of the People Act, it's only the president who can actually postpone an election. We wrote to her, basically bringing her attention to the very proclamation she made back in January, that this is a dangerous disease and we really should be treating it with more precaution.
All right, so we'll take a few calls. 235-5325. Before we wrap, I'd like the candidates to get a little interaction with the public, so we'll take about 3 or 4 very quick calls, and then we wrap up with Felicia. 22 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock this morning, so you could go ahead, call in, and if you're from Diego Martin Central, West, Northeast, or any other part of Trinidad, and you want to know about the PEP candidate, maybe you do not know the PEP candidate in your constituency, you can find out. All right, so 235-5325. Right, but the president herself, even if I should say anything about the president. Morning. I'm going to leave that alone. Morning.
Morning, Stefan. Morning to Felicia from the PEP. As much as I admire the PEP, and I know you're specifically there to look at your area in specific, do you think that your leader at this point in time, there's a level of, where the public is concerned, there's a level of arrogance that takes place? Do you think he's doing some damage to your chances of being elected? or the people taking you on board. Some of your policies are great, and I'm not going to take that away from you. But there seems to be this core issue with your leader. How do you address that?
Okay. All right. So, leadership is asking about the leader.
Well, to start with, and I know you didn't mention it at the start of the program, so for those who don't know, in addition to being the Diego Martin Central candidate, I'm also the chairman of the party.
Of the party, that's
working
right.
extremely closely with my political leader, Philip Edward Alexander. One of the things that I say when I go on interviews, when people direct questions to me about him, I always invite the host, I invite viewers when he's on the program, I invite the host to bring him on so people can ask him these questions themselves. I really don't like to answer questions on behalf of him, but I would say this, the fact that I'm here, the fact that I'm running for this campaign, the fact that I am the chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party means I have a very strong belief in Philip. I trust his leadership. What some see as arrogance, I see as immense passion. I have never, ever seen anybody talk, fight, and press on issues like I see this man doing in Trinidad and Tobago. It's actually the thing that drew me into the party and draws many people into the party. Nobody in Trinidad and Tobago dares to say the things that he says. Stefan, you saw how he went after that president's house, that red house renovation.
I was actually talking about that a little earlier on. Yeah.
And he goes after it because we have a 7-day memory. We talk about something, oh God, look at how much they thief, look how much they spend, and then we forget about it and go on our business, ignoring the fact, or not ignoring, but being oblivious to the fact that the things that we let slide is the reason why Trinidad and Tobago is the way it is. I don't think he's harming our chances at all. In fact, I think his personality, his persistence is what is bringing the people to the party, and continuing to push us along.
All
yes.
Right. Hello, good morning.
Stefan, morning.
Morning.
Let me tell you, the candidate there for PEP, congratulations for representing and proper representation. I am product of cookery. Right? Cookery is part of the Martin Central. Nobody talks about cookery. Cookery, Main Road is in a mess. There's garbage in the cookery, nobody seems to care. The councillor is a PNM councillor. That is the worst councillor I ever had in the history of being a councillor. Therefore, what is she going to be doing for cookery? Because nobody talks about cookery.
You can repeat that last part?
I didn't hear.
What is this candidate going to do to help out the situation in cookery? Because cookery is in a mess. They are controlled from the beginning of the war, go straight up in the back of cookery.
Okay. All right, he's saying what are you going to do about cookery? Because cookery does fall within that central. A lot of people don't know that. Even up in the cocoa, with the video up in the cocoa the other day up in Bonge Road, going up in the cocoa and thing up in Bonge Road and thing is part of the Martin Central too, cookery, yeah.
Actually, the cocoa, which that's the informal name for it. I went up there, which is actually the start, up the top start of the Diego Martin, not the Diego Martin River, is it the St. James River?
Yeah.
I went to the top and I met with the residents up there, and they asked me the question. They said, what can you do for the area? And I said, it is really a sad testament because it is considered a PNM stronghold.
Yeah.
That and a woman came out and she was very proud to tell me PNMs are not dead, but it is really a sad indication when you look at the fact that this is a or so-called die-hard. I don't believe anywhere is die-hard anymore. After the 5 years of the PNM, I think if you're die-hard, you're lying to yourself. But after 5 years of PNM, that cookeries, that cocoa jar, all of these places have been so neglected, have been basically left to their own devices. I mean, something as simple as getting a box drain in 2020, you have to go and beg your council for. What would I like to bring to these areas? Hope and opportunity. A woman asked me there while I was up there meeting with her, if I vote for you, I can get a job. I said, darling, that's not what I'm here for, I'm not here to say vote for me and I'll set you free. I'm here to say vote for me, vote for the put a Progressive Empowerment Party government into office, and you will see systems actually start to work for you. When I say hope and opportunity, jobs, the government's #1 job should be jobs. When you see all these boys lying on the block selling weed, selling a block, it's because jobs are
long-term job
exactly.
Jobs,
jobs are not available. There's no other avenue for you to do anything in the community. Like I said, you have to pay $1,000 to go and kick ball in your own community.
In your own community, yeah.
They've been representation, they've been neglected. I tell people, in addition to being the candidate, like I said, I'm the chairman of the party. I don't think, and I market myself as this because it's who I am. I am very hardworking, very goal-oriented, results-oriented. So if you want to see and hear your voice in Parliament, I am that person. I tell Diego Martin Central, there's no job I've ever wanted more. There's nothing I've ever worked as hard for as I'm working for this, because it is time that the people understand not just what representation is, but what representation under the right government is. Representation where they have your interest in mind, where they focus on uplifting your circumstances. Not everybody is going to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. Maybe you might end up working security. Maybe you might end up working KFC.
Right.
If you work in these jobs, you should still be able to afford a home. Your living wage, your minimum wage should still be able to be a living wage.
Right.
You should still be able to send your child to a prestige school in your constituency, not having to send them up, do like me, and travel 6 o'clock in the morning up to St. Augustine to go to a prestige school. That whole SCA system, we want to get rid of it, abolish it,
right,
make 10 years.
Let me take one more.
Going on here.
We take one more call, very quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to Felicia Holder.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I want to wish Felicia all the best for Diego Martin Central, because we need your representation in Diego Martin. And we know that you will change things in Diego Martin. People talking about your leader and his arrogance. But Philip not arrogant. Philip is a doer and a worker, right? He's nothing like Keith Rowley, who is arrogant, who wants to tell Trinidad that Trinidad people stupid and all this kind of thing. Philip don't say things like that. So whoever wants to say that the leader of PEP is arrogant, let him listen carefully to what he's saying. The policies of the PEP, I endorse. I endorse Felicia Holder, I endorse Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP to run this country to a better place.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. All right,
Thank you for that, darling.
we gotta wrap things up. But just very quickly, just some closing words very quickly.
I'm going to speak directly to Diego Martin Central here. I don't know when I might have this opportunity here. Like I said, I am young. I am the youngest, actually, candidate in this race. It's a 6-person race. I am young. I am very hardworking. I only got involved in politics because I realized that we as Trinbagonians, we really need to be the change that we want to see. I do not like the way my country is going. I do not believe that the PNM is the answer and the UNC is under no circumstances. I am in a brand new political party because I want to build this from the ground up. I want to change Trinidad and Tobago from the ground up. I want to bring opportunities to communities that have been neglected, that have been underserved, that have been long abandoned and abused by the people who they continuously vote into office every 5 years in a recycling door of zero representation. And given the opportunity to go Martin Central, I promise you that I will work for you. I am going to be so accessible. Actually, I can give out my number now, 769-4590. I'm not even in office. And I'm willing to meet with you and hear your concerns, because it doesn't only start when you have the power of treasury. It's serving the people starts from the ground up. That is it.
Right.
Thank you. And August 10th, vote for Felicia Holder, vote for the PEP.
All right, so I tell you what, we got to wrap up with Felicia. I want to thank her for coming through, and of course we'll have some other candidates. We have the candidate for the UNC for St. Anne's West, I believe it is, tomorrow in studio. And I know it's St. Anne's West. Either St. Anne's West or St. Anne's East. I had to check my schedule. All right, and somebody else. I can't remember who it is right now. Everybody just come in. So we'll be back after this with some of the weather from yesterday. And that example, going back to the conversation that I had about, projects when you use inferior material, things like that happen, what happened yesterday in Tobago. So we'll be back after this. Stay tuned.